So I personally don't think women should vote.
I'm sorry. I think that's embarrassing. She's
What?
so sassy on that.
I think that's uncalled for.
Women, you're not allowed to vote. So here we are on the third and final look at Michael Knowles' video interviewing the three trad wives. So let's get into it. Who gets to tell the wife what to do? Well, obviously, the Bible says it's the man. Just kidding. Well, let's see what they have to say.
Whatever they want. Maybe this is better, but maybe it's not. Maybe this. But I want shoulds. I want you to tell women what to do. What is best for the women? Emily?
I think men should go out and work. I think women should also educate themselves. I think they should find a job that makes them happy. We don't all have to pretend like every job is slave labor. I've had many careers. I've been happy in all of them. I think women should have something that's theirs on their own. I also think it gives you more options. It makes you, in my opinion, because I give those for a living, more valuable and better off. And when they find someone, if they choose to become a stay-at-home, trad wife, whatever BS they call it online now, then that's fantastic. If they want to have hobbies, if they want to work a little, if they want to quit their jobs, whatever's best for them that makes them happy and the children, that's great. I support all that.
Okay, now, so then the question, of course, this begs the question, which is what makes people happy, which is where we stay. What is actually conducive to happiness? Modernity tells you a lot of things are going to make you happy and they don't. But then I see in your answer, Emily, a lot of they should have choice. They should have something on their own, something independent. But I am skeptical of that, okay? I don't have a lot of choices. I mean, I do, and I get to do whatever I want. I don't even have a real job. I just do, this is my job. Is this even a job? But I don't have a lot of choices, except divorce under any circumstances. I don't have a prenuptial agreement. My wife could take me to the cleaners if she wanted to. I don't have choice. I don't have things that are really independent from my wife. We don't have separate personal bank accounts or anything. We don't have separate anything really. We sleep in the same bed. So my question then is it really good? I know modernity says it's good to be independent and have choices and endless options and whatever. Does that really make you happy, Melanie?
I honestly don't even like the phrase, do what makes you happy. I think you need a foundation. And that foundation is the Bible instead of subjective morality. We're not always going to have the opportunity to do what makes us happy because what makes us happy at all times isn't necessarily right. We need to do the right thing. And the Bible has a strong foundation for how men should behave, what men should do, and women. So we can't just live life based on you do you. Let's have this subjective morality because things just go crazy. You got pride parades, you got kids being mutilated, like things just spiral out of control. So do what's right, follow the Bible.
Ooh, it's very well said. Yes, follow the Bible. That's the foundation, really. Well, she said it the best. It's not about being happy. So we'll see if we can address that a little later. So let's continue and see what Savannah has to say.
That's a pretty straight answer. So Emily's answer is do the things that make you happy, follow your bliss. Yours is follow the Bible, even if you think it might not make you happy, it will in the long run. Yes. Savannah, what should women do?
I think the word choice is very over-glorified in our society. Like, choice is so sexy. We love having choice. I would agree with you, Michael. In my marriage, I would not leave my husband under any circumstance. We follow the Bible. Nice. We're loyal to each other. He's the head of the household, so he makes the decisions in our family. And I'm actually happier that way. I mean, I'm very young. I got married at 18, but before then I was given all these choices like, oh, well, you could move here and go get a degree here, go get a job here. And that was overwhelming. That was actually more depressing than living in a marriage that is a unit and in which you don't have a ton of choices and you don't have a ton of freedom, quote unquote. And so if you watch my content, you know that I usually say you should do this. You ought to do this because statistically speaking, married women with children are happier. But again, I'm going to have to agree with Melanie too, that the Bible is the foundation and Christ is the foundation will make you want to do things that are inherently traditional and that are biblical. So I would say that choice has just gotten so out of hand and we ought to go back to biblical principles.
Agreed. All right. Now it seems like the divide here is you got Melanie and Savannah are like really pro trad life. Emily, you're being made out to be the liberal feminist here, even though you're pretty conservative, right? You're pretty.
I know,
pretty
it's funny
much
because everyone says I'm like too far right, which is like there's no winning, is there?
But do you feel that you are a little more on the liberal or feminist side compared to some of the women who are pushing the trad life?
I mean, textbook definition feminism of wanting men and women to have like equal rights. Yeah, like I would not deny that, of course.
You would call yourself a feminist? Because I know people always say feminism means you want men and women to have equal rights. I think that's BS. I think it's an ideology.
What it's supposed to mean and what it did mean until it got hijacked by everything. Now, if you say you're a feminist, everyone's calling you a liberal and all these different things.
I mean, actually, sorry to interrupt, but I'd go back even further. I don't think it ever actually meant that. I think that was a way to sell feminism. But I think going back to like Mary Wollstonecraft and the early days of feminism, I think it was just basically a view of human nature that said men and women are pretty much the same. And rather than the classical view of human nature, which is that men and women are different, vive la différence, we're complementary, men are from Mars, women are from Venus, but we all get together in the solar system. So I think it goes deeper than it. That's one reason why I would never say I'm a feminist, is because I just don't think that's how human nature works. I love women.
Agreed.
I think women are marvelous. I am as far from a misogynist as it is possible to be. But I don't think men and women are the same. I think certain things are better for men, certain things are better for women.
Yep. I have to agree with Michael. Inherently, men and women are just different. That's an obvious reality. There's no getting around it. We all know it. Everybody knows it, even though we pretend not to with all these different topics in the world today. But yeah, we do have different attributes, and we have different responsibilities based on those attributes, and those are all God-given. So, all right, let's see what Emily has to say.
No, I think what makes us different are our strengths. I think trying to blend those together is a complete weakness. I think men and women are completely different animals and should be treated differently. So it's like the problem is they're trying to blend these things to be like, oh, we should just be living the same life and doing the same things. Absolutely not. That clearly is not working out as we see that in society. Do I think women should have the right to vote and all these things? Which, yes, all the pick-me feminists, they're like, oh my God, women shouldn't even vote. Like, I'm sorry. I think that's embarrassing. I think literally all they're doing is trying to get attention from men, ironically, because most of them are probably unhappy in their marriages and not happy with all the choices they've made. I'm also coming from a different perspective. I'm in a city. I'm also not super religious. I'm very clear about that.
Wouldn't that indicate that you're more secure with your relationship if you were trusting in the man to have the vote of the house? I've heard Andrew Wilson allude to a household vote. I think he was leaning toward you could vote if you were married. As a married couple, it was a unity vote. I'm not sure exactly how that would work, but it's very interesting. I was kind of feeling the same way as Michael about maybe only married women, but I would presume he means married men as well, should vote. Because if you're talking about what's best for society, married people are the ones raising kids, and procreation is extending the life cycle of the human being, right? It's making sure that we go on. Somebody who's single doesn't care about all that. If you're not putting into the society the human beings that are required to keep it going, then, not only do you probably not care, but maybe you shouldn't have a say-so. I don't know. It's an interesting thought.
That online, but I'm not going to pretend like I'm a part of this new wave of feminism. I mean, being in one of the bluest places in the country, I live a very, ironically, traditional and conservative lifestyle. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do drugs, I don't go out. We're having dinner, we're cooking, we're with the dogs. We'd like to
Emily,
get married one day.
My definition of conservatism, you actually have to drink and smoke. It's actually a requirement. I see your point, because sometimes when they say women shouldn't vote, I think, hold on, then we're going to lose all the elections because we get all the married. Only married women should vote. The single women should not vote because they all vote for Democrats. But if you really wanted to embrace the trad life, of course, nobody should vote. But that's a topic for another time. Ladies,
and
thank
see,
you
I'm
so
not-
much.
I'm saying so much of it is so hypocritical, and ironically, a lot of these statements are like literally just from women to like appease men. And like, I'm sorry, I'm just like, I'm not gonna get behind that. And they called me a liberal feminist and Tommy Lauren and all these people. And like, look, we're allowed to have different perspectives, and that's also supposed to be the right wing. We're not supposed to be liberals. We're supposed to have different perspectives and actually be able to coexist with each other.
Right. And I'm not completely on the end of like, oh, women shouldn't vote and this or that. I think women should be able to vote. So I'm definitely with you on that.
You're
And
a
I
liberal,
also,
Melanie? I thought you were conservative.
I guess so. But I also think even if you look at the Bible, you look at the Proverbs 31 woman, she still had a job. Granted, it didn't take priority over her household. So I think that when we're talking about roles, as if a woman wants to be able to work, I mean, I'm not in a 1950s dress right now. Like,
Not yet,
I
Melanie.
work. Yeah,
Not yet.
not yet at least. So I work, and so I can't claim that everything has to be this exact same way. So I do understand that element of it, but I think that the priority with a woman in marriage, and especially if kids are involved, should be the home. That is the priority. Anything else that she wants to do, if she wants to get a part-time job, she wants to do this or that, as long as it doesn't interfere with what she's able to do at home.
And I think it's good if you're talking about women initiating divorce and being unhappy. I think a good part of that is how do we keep women happy and stop that from happening? So saying, oh, you know, not force them. If going to work 3 hours a week makes her happy, whatever it is, then maybe that should be also a priority if the divorce is initiated and so high.
I have this crazy idea. Maybe we should restrict the divorce laws again. But that's the much more trad right-wing view. Savannah, you have been characteristically demure, quiet, and trad in this last little segment here. Final word.
That's funny.
I mean, I personally don't think women should vote, and that's probably going to be a very far opinion. And that's not to get male validation. That's simply like I maybe married women, because it would just be like my husband having another vote.
Funny.
But you know, during like the suffragist movement, they sold this to women as, oh, well, now you can vote differently than your husband, so now you have choice. And so if we're going to erase women's choice, as in, you know, going on OnlyFans or working or whatever it may be, then you have to repeal the 19th too. I mean, I just don't, that we're losing elections. We lost in 2020 because single women were voting. So I think that's a problem.
I thought it was the ballot drop boxes, but it's a fair point. I mean, there were plenty of women during the suffragette movement.
Voter ID, but it's like, also, didn't you vote? Didn't you vote for Trump?
Well, but it was like my husband had another vote. I'm not voting against my husband.
Mm.
If I was voting against my husband, that would be a problem.
I don't think couples should be voting against each other,
vote.
right? And I think the man should be the head of the household. So I can see that element of it for sure. Women
So
should
Melanie,
be
you're
voting
more on
against their
Savannah's
husband.
side.
I'm kind of in between, because like I don't want to be told I can't vote. I mean, I'm single too, so I don't want to be told I can't vote. Like, I'm
Why
paying
not?
taxes.
I would be told. Look,
I pay
sorry to interrupt,
taxes.
Melanie, but I'm a millennial. Millennials have voted traditionally for Democrats. If you told me, Michael, we're going to disenfranchise all the millennials, you'll never get to vote again, but we're going to get good government. Say, like, where do I sign up? Take all my votes, please. It's a hassle to go vote. What do I need that for? The point of the voting is the good government. And to your point, Savannah, I mean, there were a lot of women who were opposed to the suffragettes, and they didn't want the right to vote. And the reason, I don't think, was that they were, you know, dumb or slaves or something like that. Their arguments were the argument that the basic unit of society should be the family, not the individual. So they were making principled arguments. You can disagree with those arguments. Obviously, they're kind of irrelevant now because women have had the right to vote for 100 years. But they were making serious arguments. So then, I don't know. I mean, what do you say, Emily? I don't think we're going to repeal the 19th Amendment anytime soon. But is it? Would it not be more conservative if the political order was based on the family rather than the individual?
Yeah, but there's also, that goes across too many different things of like rights that we should have, and it's just ridiculous. I don't even really believe, like, yeah, okay, would we be more conservative? Sure. Would I risk like all females not being able to vote? No. And I don't really think females believe that. I think they say these things online to get male validation.
Savannah, are you a pick-me? Are you doing pick-me stuff?
I'm married. I don't need to be picked. I've already been picked.
Yeah, but every single thing you say is literally appealing to men and usually hating on women as well, which is funny because I would think if I was in a happy marriage, I wouldn't even do this. Like, I would just go out and just be happy and do my thing. I think the advice you give to women is awful. I think it's at a detriment to them. And I don't think it comes from true happiness. And I think it really does come out of insecurity from being in, frankly, a lavender marriage, as everyone online can see.
I disagree. I think
Are
Savannah.
you that easily manipulated by TikTok rumors?
What is it? Can you clear up for a millennial? What's a lavender marriage?
Man, in 2 seconds.
Oh, a lavender marriage is when you
why do you think I called you out for hating on me specifically?
Isn't a lavender marriage
because you
usually
berated my husband online? You berated my husband for absolutely no reason.
No, I just looked at 2 seconds. I was like, oh, that's a gay man. That's why she's
what?
So sassy on
I think that's uncalled for. I don't know anybody's personal lives here. This is what this is the thing, my perspective of what I'm seeing. Wow. Savannah is saying all this because she is in an ideal situation. She's in a happy situation. So in an ideal
situation, married to a potentially gay man at what, 19 is a
how do you know?
Listen, as someone who's tap danced in his life, I want you to know not every guy who's a little theatrical is lighting the loafers. All right. On that note, we have to let you all go. I look forward to chatting again, though. You can follow Melanie Mac at Melanie Mac. You can follow Emily at Emily Saves America. You can follow Savannah Faith Stone at Savannah Faith Stone. I can't wait for part 2.
Wow. What was that? Oh, man. Yeah, I don't see the reason for getting personal there, but what do I know? So let's, I'm going to give you insight on 3 things. We'll cover the scriptures, a couple of scripture from the first video. We'll just kind of go over those again. Just the roles, talk about happiness, and also talk about being equally yoked. What does that mean? Okay, so here we go. So on this site, it's called Got Questions. It's biblical based. Let's read a couple of sentences of this to get a good perspective of what our marital roles should be for one another. Although males and females are equally in relationship to Christ, the scriptures give specific roles to each in marriage. The husband is to assume leadership in the home. 1 Corinthians says, but I want you to understand the head of every man is Christ, the head of a wife is her husband, and the head of Christ is God. Okay, that's pretty straightforward. Let's go to Ephesians. This is one that we talked about last time. So this says, Ephesians 5:23, for the husband is the head of the wife, even as Christ is the head of the church, his body, and is himself its Savior. So straightforward. It's just the roles that God designed for us. It's nothing. It's not meant to be anything personal. We just have different roles. Husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her, that he might sanctify her, having cleansed her by the washing of water with the word. So not only is he the head in responsibility, but as I said last time, he's responsible for giving her the word, like preaching, be the preacher in your home, and washing with water with the word. So it's not him. He's not doing the transformation of sanctifying, but it's the word itself. And that's a responsibility. That's not being head of household. I get to tell you what to do. But it's about being a leader. So that's it. Real easy, right? Happiness. Now, this is in reference to what Emily was saying, because she kept going, I want to be happy. I want to be happy. And it's, I don't mean to make that sound ditzy, but she sounded kind of ditzy in my opinion. And that doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense when you're talking about the family, and that needs to be your goal, is what makes the house stronger. Not everybody's individual happiness. Anyway, happiness is an emotion arising from an inner conviction that all is right with the world. Okay. It is a sense of well-being, joy, and contentment. Everyone wants to be happy, but happiness as our goal or as our ultimate goal can be elusive. So here's the issue I have with the happiness. This sentence kind of puts it into perspective. People who assume that God wants them to be happy may justify activities clearly prohibited in the Bible by arguing that such choices are necessary for happiness. Now, Emily was making the argument that women having their own careers would make them happy. Well, the problem with that is she didn't limit it to just careers. She was open to a career in OnlyFans. Come on. I mean, just come on. That's just ridiculous. So that's kind of what it's saying here. When you leave yourself open to interpret what you want, like if happiness is the goal, then everything's on the table, which that's clearly not the way it should be. So with the thing with voting, should women vote? Women, you're not allowed to vote. Just kidding. But that's a whole interesting thing in itself, but we'll get to that in another video. Right here, let's take a look at this. The phrase unequally yoked. And the reason this is important is because if you were equally yoked, you would have a united front. So when they were talking about voting, Melanie was saying, "Oh, I don't want to be told not to vote." But when Savannah said, "I don't want my vote going against my husband. I'm going to vote the way he votes." Technically, you're getting 2 votes now, right? But Melanie kind of shifted a little bit. Oh, well, yeah, I wouldn't want to vote against my husband. So she's kind of wavering in between, as she was saying, kind of in the middle. But let's look at and see what this article says about being unequally yoked. The phrase unequally yoked comes from 2 Corinthians 6:14 in the King James Version. So this is so strange to read King James. Be ye not equally yoked together with unbelievers. Let's see if it's, I think this is the New King James. So do not be unequally yoked with unbelievers. Just because your goals are different, right? That's all that's saying. Believers are on a different path. Unbelievers are on their own path, on a different path as well. For what partnership has righteousness with lawlessness? Or what fellowship has light with darkness? And as you can see, if OnlyFans is okay, the other two are saying, like, we need biblical values because we don't see marriage as allowing those kinds of things. So that's very simply put. Anyway, that's the video for today. It's a great discussion. I don't think that discussion is going anywhere anytime soon. Probably going to be a part of our culture for a little while, and thankfully so. Just in my little sphere of influence, the kids grow up to have a wonderful relationship with their parents, particularly with mom. They continue to have their friendship, as well as the mother-daughter, the mother-son relationship is very strong. So, that's it for today. God bless, and we'll see you next time.